Shadowverse. Blaze's Revenge. Dot. Dot. Blaze sees Zalcor near the sign in desk as most of the other fighters keep their distance. Energetic discharges crackling between them. Am I your enemy now, or do you think she was worthless like I do? He says, grinning. Blaze steps to the desk. Kira was amazing. She deserved better from you, he says, taking a deep breath. Lena grabs Blaze by the arm. Come on. Things are ready, she says, looking at Zalcor nervously. Yes, she did, Zalcor says, his voice chill. But she's not here, is she? And now I have someone for you too. Someone who thinks she's better than me. He steps aside, revealing a small patch of blank space next to the desk. Go on, sign in. Blaze grits his teeth, breaking free from Lena, and pushes Zalcor. Haven't you done enough? He snaps as electricity tears at the stone floor. Even the peacekeeper's unwilling to interfere. Ah, the friend. Of course you'd defend her. Zalcor laughs darkly, leaning back against the desk. Blaze glares as the electrical discharges around him grow stronger, crackling like angry snakes. Zalcor smirks. But she's not here, and you can't protect her now. Lena grabs him by the arm, pulling him away towards the arena. Zalcor clears his throat. Say hello to my sister for me later, will ya? Oh, and our mother, they're really close now, he shouts, laughing. Blaze feels himself anger to the point of numbness as something snaps and the world takes on an odd feel. Lena's voice sounding as if he's underwater. Blaze, don't listen to him, just follow me. He settles himself and takes a deep breath, trying to calm down as he nods and follows her towards the arena. As they approach the fighting ring, several of the other fighters pat Blaze on the back as they side with him. Where did he go? He asks, still feeling uneasy. Lena shakes her head. To get ready for your upcoming match. Blaze, are you okay to do this? She asks him, concerned. He nods, swallowing hard. I'll be fine. Just give me a moment. Looking around, he moves to grab some water from a nearby table. Turning back to her, so did he kill her mother too? He asks, having never met her. Lena looks surprised for a moment, and then nods solemnly. Yes, he did. Her voice trails off, and she bites her lip. He did it in front of her too. She shakes her head, tears beginning to well up in her eyes. Dot. 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 As he awaits his match's time card in the unrestricted group. Zalcor sits at the top with the championship belt. Blaze can't help but notice the box on his back as he sets it on the ground. Staring at him, smiling from his entry point into the massive stone-floored ring, ruins and obstacles spread over its half-mile width. Dot. Dot. The time comes to get ready and enter the ring. Lena kisses him on the cheek. Be careful out there, my love. And remember what Kira told you. Don't lose yourself, she says with worry in her voice. I won't, I promise, Blaze replies, his voice firm. With a deep breath, he heads towards the entry point, the crowd roaring around him. Approaching the ring, he sees Zalcor smirking at him from across the way, the light glinting off the championship belt slung over his shoulder. Zalcor pulls the box off his back and sets it onto the ground as Blaze studies it. Weapons are legal in this group, he thinks. Zalcor smirks. I don't think I'll be needing anything from in there, he says, walking towards Blaze, leaving the box next to a pillar. As they near and bow to each other, the crowd goes wild, cheering them both on. Blaze can sense that Zalcor is still stronger than him, but he tries to keep his focus and not let the fear take over. The two of them circling each other, waiting for the announcer. It's time for our next match. In the unrestricted group, we have Blaze versus Zalcor. Both fighters are known for their amazing abilities and martial arts prowess. Let's get ready for what's sure to be an epic battle, the announcer shouts. The crowd goes wild as some cheer on Zalcor and others root for Blaze, while still some remember and chant for the deceased Kira. Blaze nods at a telepathic thought from Lena. Yeah, I know. Thanks. He takes a deep breath and begins to warm up with light stretches. As he does so, he keeps an eye on Zalcor, who seems more interested in taunting the crowd for a moment than preparing for the fight. He points at Blaze. If you do well enough this time, maybe my sister can congratulate you, he says, chuckling as he mocks her death to his face again. Blaze clenches his fists, anger and determination burning in his eyes. Shut up already. He growls back, glaring at Zalcor as he continues to stretch and limber up. Blaze stands as he readies himself. Begin, the announcer shouts. Zalcor grins. Aren't you glad they made no time limit, just for us? Perks of a feared champion, he says, then dashes toward him as his icy feeling energy surges, making a bomb-like blast of air. With a growl, Blaze dodges a fireball attack and counters with a roundhouse kick. Zalcor narrowly avoiding it, Blaze follows with a series of quick jabs and palm strikes that force the other man back as he blocks them. His feet tearing into the ring. The crowd roaring its approval as the fighters exchange powerful blows. As the match continues, Blaze notices Zalcor's movements starting to slow down, just a fraction. He takes advantage of this opening and lands a powerful palm strike squarely on the other man's chest. Huh, Zalcor gasps, staggering back. Not so fast. He thinks, firing a bolt of lightning hitting Blaze in the upper right of his chest, and there's a stadium-shaking explosion. Blaze grunts in pain, but doesn't go down. He puts his hand on the area where he was hit and feels a burning sensation, but doesn't hinder his movement much as he and Zalcor aggressively clash and evade. Zalcor starts to get desperate and draws an energy sword. Blaze dodges a wild swing, slipping past as he lunges forward with a strike of his own. Zalcor, barely managing to block, is pushed as Blaze focuses, creating a blue energy blade. Their weapons clash again and again as they circle each other, neither leaving an opening. Lena cheers as Blaze steps and appears beside Zalcor, firing a powerful fireball at point blank. The crowd shields themselves from the flying dirt and rocks. The impact of the spell rocketing Zalcor backward, tearing through the ring, and he struggles to his feet, a look of shock on his face. Taking advantage of this opening, Blaze dashes forward and delivers a devastating kick to his midsection, and a crater forms as the impact throws debris 100 feet into the air. Picking himself up as he comes to a stop, Zalcor holds out a hand. Wait, I have a surprise for you. It's not much, but you'll love it, he says, gesturing towards the box he set down earlier. Blaze looks over at the box and sees it's now open with nothing inside. Lena and the crowd gasp at once, causing Blaze to turn back to Zalcor. Instead, he is met with the beautiful face and blank dead eyes of Kira staring back at him. He throws himself back in shock and horror, falling to the ground. Lena recoils at the sight of Kira under a necromancy spell. You sick bastard, Lena shouts at Zalcor. Blaze's mind twists and churns in anguish as he realizes that Kira was brought back as some twisted abomination to be used as a weapon against him. His rage at Zalcor blinds him and he launches himself into an attack, but Kira's reanimated corpse intercepts him with a roundhouse that puts him into a small crater. He grunts, jumping away from a punch that explodes the area, then blocks another strike, but it slips past, impacting his gut, dropping him. Kira's corpse giggles. You should join him like me. It's so much more fun. She grabs him by the hair and he breaks free. I'm sorry, Kira, he thinks as he charges an energy punch. Blaze's fist connects as she blocks the hit, sending her tumbling back several feet. She lands hard on the ground, and as she struggles to her feet, Blaze launches himself at her, determined to end her suffering. Blaze, a voice whispers to him as he hesitates, stopping short. In a flash, Kira's knee meets his face. She cocks her head at him. Well now, aren't you a heroic little thing? Let me guess, you want to save her, respect the dead and whatnot. Is that it? You want to make everything right? Blaze, dazed and bloody, shakes his head. No, I just want her to rest. The healthy-looking, dead-eyed body smiles strangely, then looks over at Zalcor. Zalcor grins. Oh, that's right. I was going to kill her anyway. You loving her and figuring that out. I want you to be like me. So I killed her sooner. Sweet smile before she died too. Always. Haha, always so warm and full of life, he says. The corpse turns to Blaze, looking at him, and smiles just like the night she died. Something in Blaze stops processing and he can't tell if he's angry or feeling nothing as he moves. Shoving Kira's possessed corpse aside, he rockets at Zalcor, completely blind to his own emotions. Zalcor grins as Blaze charges. You really are a pathetic little thing, he laughs. If you want her to rest so badly, go ahead and kill me. The energy around Zalcor flares briefly as he uses his demonic powers to fuel his hatred and anger, making him even more dangerous. He blocks a heavy hit that digs his feet into the ground as it knocks him back, and he lashes out, landing a force push on Blaze that forces safety officials to erect blast barriers. Hypersonic rocks and dust peppering the construct as it goes up. Impacting into the far wall, Blaze tears himself from the rubble in a rage. "I'm gonna rip your guts out," he growls as dark black energy explodes into his aura and the blast barrier cracks, forcing more practitioners to strengthen it. Blaze and Zalcor rush to meet in the middle, the impact exploding through the top of the barrier, blasting away the cloud cover over the city-sized arena. Blaze easily overpowering him as he grabs his wrist, then strikes with a pointed energy hand at his heart. But Zalcor is prepared. Using his demonic energy and natural reflexes, he counters with a spinning backfist that connects solidly with Blaze's jaw, sending him crashing into the ground. Blaze lands, fracturing the stone around him as the energy in his aura takes the form of a humanoid fox. His form barely visible inside. "You think you know the energy you play with? You're a speck to us. Who do you think? Used to be there. Used to be a king there in purgatory." The fox demon growls as it gains deep red burning pits for eyes. Zalcor laughs, amused by the display of raw energy. "So, you are the one who tamed it? I thought that was just a legend. How ironic that you learned under my sister. Maybe you're her new worst student." He scoffs. The creature Blaze has become lets out a short laugh that craters the area. "Tamed. He refuses to use it because of us. You can't tame the dark emptiness." Its words vibrating Zalcor's bones. Lena watches in horror as the crowd cheers. No, this can't be happening. This isn't. She never saw this, and if she did, why wouldn't she tell me? She thinks, barely able to breathe. The demon chuckles darkly. "We are one with the darkness. And just like you, we must make his choice for him when he's weak." Just then Blaze's head smashes into the ground as if hit from behind, but no one is there. "What the?" he says, dazed. "Blaze, don't lose yourself. You're stronger than they are," he hears whispered into his ear. He jumps away as Zalcor attacks. Dodging easily, he blasts a large energy ball at him, cracking the barrier as a few of those projecting it struggle. Standing still, Blaze's dark aura starts to fluctuate, growing chaotic. "Get out of my god-given body," he says to the demonic presence. The creature suddenly thrashes in rage against Blaze as he draws in the energy around him. A massive barrier shattering energy and wind erupts. Explosive lightning rocking the arena as the sky starts to darken. Zalcor braces himself against its force, barely able to stand as his energy is pushed back. Lena focuses, firing a dense bolt at Blaze, and her mind connects to his, causing her to collapse in pain from the demonic mind. "Blaze, I'm here. Shish. I know it hurts, but don't give up." Quote. Blaze roars in pain and anger as the lightning and magic rack his body, but he continues to fight against the demonic presence within him. His fists glowing white hot as his aura pulses with raw power. The demon within him howls, its voice a mixture of agony and fury. There's a blast that rocks and obscures the fighting area as it wraps around Zalcor and Kira's reanimated corpse. The pain and images in her mind stop, turning to thoughts of Kira and herself, along with all the things they and Blaze had done together. She looks out into the ring and finally lets herself breathe a sigh of relief. The dust clears as a liquid glass-looking sapphire blue fire aura surrounds Blaze, the dark aura gone. The crowd slowly regains its senses, the destruction in Blaze's power leaving many speechless. Zalcor lies unconscious but starts to stir in the rubble. Kira laying motionless nearby. Zalcor groans as he struggles to move. "You know, kid, you're gonna have to kill me to put her to rest. Ha, you're no hero, no student of Kira's. Not with strength like that," he spits. Blaze walks over to Kira's body. "Kira," he whispers, hands trembling as he holds her limp form. Tears well up in his eyes. He looks over at Zalcor, then back at Kira once more. I can't." Blaze uses his energy sensing ability to scan Kira's body, confirming it's still under the control of necromancy. He looks over at Zalcor. "Cancel out the reanimation spell," Blaze says angrily. As Zalcor waves him off, Blaze looks down at her. "I'm not very good at those, but," he focuses on canceling out the reanimation spell, feeling a massive surge of chi leave his body and wash over Kira. The spell breaks, and her lifeless form shudders, breath returning to her lungs. She coughs and sputters, eyes fluttering open as she slowly regains consciousness. Blaze and Zalcor look at each other confused. "I thought you were dead," they both say as Blaze embraces her. As Kira regains her senses, her gaze flickers between Blaze and Zalcor. I was. He inadvertently brought me back," she says, gesturing weakly at Zalcor. "I had to hide a piece of my soul with Lena," she tells him. Zalcor smashes the ground with his fist, hardly making an impact. "Blaze, you still have to ask the crowd. Kill or spare," he says, breathing heavily. Kira nods to Blaze and he walks towards Zalcor as he pulls a magic stone, activating it, an ice blue crystal spear with a pointed and flat end extending. Standing before Zalcor, the point of his weapon a few inches from the murderer's chest, he glares at him. "I should kill you. You deserve nothing less for what you've done," he says, his voice cold and hard. "But I can't. This fight's over. You've got nothing left. I don't have to ask them," he says, throwing down the spear. Zalcor looks down at the weapon, then back up at Blaze. "You fool," he snarls, his voice filled with venom. "You have no idea what you've just done," he says. Blaze looks at Kira, still in disbelief, as suddenly her eyes go wide. Pivoting on his foot, he slips past the crystal spear as it scrapes his skin. Flipping it out of Zalcor's hands, he rolls over him and brings it down. "Blaze, don't," Kira shouts in her mind, covering her face. "I know." She hears Blaze reply as he strikes. Zalcor falls to the ground out cold, hit with a non-lethal solid flat end blow to the head. Blaze slowly lowers the crystal spear, looking at it in disgust before sheathing the weapon. He then turns to Kira. "I'm sorry, I didn't want to do that. But he deserved something," he sighs, shaking his head. Helping her up, he looks at the crowd. "I'm gonna spare this one too," he says, pointing to Kira as the crowds cheer. Picking her up as she stumbles, he looks at her. "So was this part of your plan the whole time?" Kira glares at Zalcor's unconscious body. "Sort of. One of the possible outcomes. If I had told you, things wouldn't have happened the same and it wouldn't have ended like this," she says, looking away. Blaze looks over at Lena in the stands. "Who's Lena?" Kira chuckles softly. "Lena, she's my friend, an ally. Someone I trust, someone who's taught me a lot about the world and about myself." She pauses for a moment, contemplating. "She's not," she thinks of the right words. "A whole person really," she says. Lena smiles at them as they exit the arena. "Well, that was close." Blaze looks at Lena and Kira, only just now realizing they look exactly the same except for their hair. Who are you to each other exactly?" he asks them. Kira laughs. "Hey, that's a good question. You see, Lena and I were," she starts, but then Lena cuts her off. "We're sisters. Long story," she says with a small smile. Blaze blinks, surprised, and feels a little guilty for not having realized it. Kira suddenly snorts with laughter. No, not really. It's funnier though. She is all of my qualities, just different enough to not notice but be familiar," she says and snaps her fingers. Suddenly Lena glows a light red color and turns to a ball of light that rejoins with Kira. Blaze side-eyes her. "So that's why she was so comforting. But wait, what did you use as a receptacle for the magic though?" he asks. She laughs and motions to herself. "Oh, I didn't. I did it all myself." My chi reached its limits and formed an actual body for Lena. I just guide her back to me and she is me now again. But isn't when she's out in the world and can do her own thing," she says casually, as if this kind of thing happened every day. "Were you aware through Lena?" he asks. "Yeah, I was aware of everything she was feeling and could see through her eyes," she says, then shrugs. "It was kind of nice, being able to share that bond with her. But it was also tiring, having to keep it up constantly. I'm glad I don't have to do it anymore." Blaze blushes. Did you, feel even me and Lena? He says as his face burns. Hey, I'm not that kind of girl, she exclaims, pushing him playfully. I'm not into creepy stuff like that. I'm not even into you, remember? She smirks, trying to lighten the mood. He looks at her. Hey, can we not joke about us like that? He softly says, looking into her eyes. She giggles, looking away for a moment before meeting his gaze again. Fine, fine, no more jokes about us. But don't expect me to suddenly fall for you. We're just friends, and I appreciate that, she says. But if you ever do want more. He sighs. Really? Back at his hotel room, Kira lays in the bed with him. So, did you and my magic construct Lena ever? You know, she asks, blushing. Blaze smiles, lying beside her. No, nothing like that. We just talked and sparred. She was really cuddly. We're just friends, you know that. He gently touches her cheek. Plus, you and I, well, what? Kira asks, tilting her head slightly. Blaze scoots closer. Would you be jealous if your self-created magic double did that with me? He asks her. Kira narrows her eyes. Very funny. I'd smack you and that double in the face. She is kinda me. She crosses her arms. Besides, you know we're just friends. Nothing more, she insists, but her voice sounds a little less convincing. He looks at her. Kira, I know we joke a lot, but I love you. She purses her lips thoughtfully. Well, I care about you too. A lot, and we have been through a lot together. She pauses, clearly struggling with her words. I don't want things to change between us, that's all. He gives her a soft smile and rests his chin on her head. I don't either. We'll always be friends, Kira. And I promise to always respect your wishes. He gently kisses her forehead. Kira looks at him, searching his eyes for any hint of deceit. Satisfied, she closes her own, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Good, 'cause you're stuck with me, kid. No matter what. They lie in silence for a moment, content in each other's presence. Blaze smiles softly back at her, his heart feeling warm and full. He reaches up to cup her cheek. I wouldn't have it any other way. And with that, they drift off to sleep, their bodies pressed close together and the weight of their vows holding them fast. Though Blaze lay there unable to shake the hurt he feels and can't sleep, he carefully gets out of bed, not waking Kira. I just have to get some air, he thinks as he steps out into the streets of the Oriental city. As he walks the lantern-lit pathways, he stops at the middle of a bridge overlooking the city. A voice from the dark startles him. You know, my sister's lucky to have a guy like you, Zalcor says, stepping up next to him as they both watch the city. He turns to Zalcor, his expression a mix of confusion and suspicion. What do you mean? He asks warily. Zalcor leans back on the railing, staring up at the starry sky. Oh, nothing much, just, I've seen how you look at her. With such admiration. Blaze shrugs. Most would just laugh 'cause we're just friends. He says, unsure why he's telling Zalcor. Zalcor chuckles softly. Oh, I've never been one for laughing at love. Or at true friendship, for that matter. He pauses, studying Blaze carefully. Besides, it seems like you're the only one who can't see it. Blaze forms a calm fireball in his hand. That's the problem though, I do see it, but almost everyone, even her, just tries to basically belittle it. He says, letting the fire fade. Zalcor watches as the fire dissipates, a thoughtful expression on his face. I see what you mean, he says after a moment. But you know, sometimes, we cling to familiar things but want different. He pauses, glancing at Blaze, who chuckles. I can't tell if things will change or not. Zalcor tilts his head, considering this for a moment. Perhaps you can find a way to balance things. You might not get exactly what you want, but you could still have something wonderful. He shrugs. Or perhaps not. Blaze sighs. What looks more wonderful though? The childless couple there or that family over there? Taking care of more than just each other. Making things that'll last beyond the parents. He says. Can't really ever have that if I'm just a close friend and we avoid things. Already lost a lot trying before. He says, feeling trapped. Zalkor's eyes widen for an instant. Well, I suppose that is a fair point, he admits. And while it may not seem like much now, you never know all of what the future holds. He pauses, watching him carefully. Perhaps you should focus less on the things you don't have and more on what you do have. Looking at him, Blaze smirks. Odd advice for such a ruthless guy. What gives? He says. Zalkor shrugs. Just because I am ruthless doesn't mean I can't appreciate the value of relationships. And honestly, he says, leaning in closer, I've had my share of regrets. Perhaps I'm trying to spare you some of the same. They sit watching the city below for a while when Zalkor straightens up. You may be emotionally soft on the inside, but you earned my respect as a fighter. If you can do that, I'm sure you can figure out those other things. Take care of yourself, Blaze. Looking forward to our match next year. He pauses. It's gonna be live all over the world just like on the other Earth. He says, then vanishes into a shadow. Thanks, Blaze says, still a little confused by the exchange but feeling somewhat better. He watches Zalkor leave, then takes a deep breath before turning his attention back to the city. Making his way back to the inn, he looks up at a moment as he walks. The sky hanging heavy with gray clouds, promising rain soon. He feels a light breeze brush against his skin, carrying with it the scent of impending storm. A sense of loss washes over him as he thinks of Kira and the way things are between them. He understands her concerns and wants to respect her wishes, but the ache in his chest only grows stronger. He finds himself wondering if there is some way to make things work between them without changing who they are. He walks into their room, finding her doing some stretches. She stays posed with her butt in the air as she arcs her back, reaching her hands forward. I saw you talking to Zalkor on the bridge, she says, feeling her stretch. He nods, sitting down on the edge of the bed. He was friendly, I guess. Said I earned his respect. I'm not really sure what to make of it, but at least he didn't try to kill me. Anyway, what's up with you? You usually only stretch when you're stressed or trying to make me blush. She stops stretching and gives him a knowing look. Well, I am a little stressed actually. And kind of annoyed at Zalkor for what he said to you. Not to mention a bit freaked out by this whole. She trails off, unsure how to continue. She winces a little as she reaches forward. Blaze, can you help me with my back? He looks at her, hesitating for a moment. You sure you want me to do that? I could just watch you do it on your own. She sighs and rolls her eyes. Fine, but only asked 'cause you're my friend. She pouts. He sighs. I'm just kidding, I'll help you, he says, moving over to her. Where do you want me to press down at? He says, rubbing her spine and back, feeling for knots. Kira lets out a soft moan as he works her back. Right about there, she sighs, tilting her head back slightly. He kneads the muscles gently, feeling them unknotting under his hands. How's that? He asks. Feels so good. She turns away, biting her lip as his touch feels almost too good. Yeah, much better, thanks, Blaze, she says, trying to compose herself. Blaze smiles and rests a hand on her shoulder. No problem. If you ever need me to help with that again, just let me know, all right? He says. Kira nods, forcing a small smile. She groans in quiet disappointment. Okay, if he misses this one, he's either clueless or stupid, she thinks, turning to him. Thanks, she says, holding his arms so he can't let go as she backs against him. She lay on his chest, listening to his heartbeat as they recover. I wish we did that way sooner, she says to him shyly. He chuckles softly, running a hand through her hair. Me too, but it was important that we waited until it was right for both of us. And now that we have, he trails off, kissing her forehead. You make everything so perfect, Kira. ... The next day Kira wakes feeling well rested and off but amazing as she looks over at Blaze while he's sleeping. He stirs, slowly opening his eyes. Kira's smile, like a ray of sunshine on his face. It takes a moment for him to remember what they'd done last night, and the warmth spreads through his chest anew. He can't help but return the smile. Hey there, beautiful. She rolls over to face him and gives him a playful push. Hey yourself. Now wake up, lazy bum. We've got sparring practice today. She grins, but there's a hint of worry in her expression. He rolls to face her. What's wrong? He asks, sensing her worry. She hesitates for a moment before speaking. I don't know how long this newfound peace will last. Zalcor has already made his intentions clear that he's not finished with you. And she swallows hard, with what we did last night. He might be a psychopathic murderer, but he still hates any guy friend I have. Could you imagine if he knew about this? Blaze frowns. Guy friends, he teases. She gives him the don't go there look. Not like that, you're the first guy I've done that with. I just always never felt right with anyone else. So don't lump me in with those girls. He moves closer. Hey, he says, seeing he hurt her feelings. I didn't mean it like that. I know you focused on our training too much for that even when I wasn't. I mean, more like. She puts a finger to his lips. I didn't mean it like that. You're so much more than just my friend. You always were ever since that day we beat up that bully in elementary school. Even though I really did steal his stuff. She says, tousling his hair. Blaze smirks. That little twerp deserved it. He stole it from me anyway. He chuckles. She playfully hits him in the ribs. Yeah, well, you didn't tell anyone and let me have it instead. She grins. Now come on. Get up. We've got training to do. She sits up and winces, looking at her side. He takes a look. Are you okay? What happened? He asks, touching the shallow-looking cut. She hisses at the touch, but then gasps as her body tenses up. Don't. It'll be fine, it's just a scratch. She mutters, shifting away from him slightly. Anyway, like I was saying. Get up, we've got training to do. He glances around the room, feeling uneasy. I didn't accidentally do that last night, did I? He asks. She narrows her eyes. I said it's fine. There's nothing you could do about it anyway. Now, come on, let's train. She shakes her head slightly, as if trying to clear it. But despite her words, she can't help but feel a bit off. He studies her closely but accepts what she said. Thinking a moment, instead of training. Let's go visit your dad, he says. Kira tilts her head. Now, she asks, looking puzzled. I thought you wanted to train. But something in her voice makes it clear that she's not opposed to the idea of seeing her father. No, I do. But I feel like we should check in on him. He shakes his head. Remember last year you offered to visit, but Zalcor killed you before we could go. Her expression darkens. Yeah, I remember, she murmurs, biting her lip. Let's go then. We can always train more later. She gets to her feet, stretching stiffly. But if we run into that bastard? Blaze sighs. He seemed pretty chill last night. Then again, he does still want to fight in the next tournament. Would your father even let him around the house with how he is? Blaze watches her expression shift as she thinks about it. He'd keep him close. It's not like he's weak, you know. She shrugs. But I guess we'll see. They make their way out of the inn, headed towards her father's house. As they walk, Blaze feels eyes watching him and stops looking around, seeing no one. She notices and turns to him. You okay? She asks, eyeing him as he shakes his head. I'm just being paranoid, I guess. It's nothing. He turns back and they continue walking. Dot. 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 They arrive at her father's and see her stepmother tending to their garden. While their 1-year-old plays in the yard, Kira looks at the flowers and crops, then up at Blaze. Her expression uncertain. Hello, mother, she says tentatively. The woman looks up, seeing them, and smiles warmly. Oh, hello dear, it's good to see you. How are you feeling? Kira swallows hard. I'm doing well, mother. Blaze steps forward, turning to block Kira's view as Zalcor sits watching from the other side of the yard. She looks at Blaze. Are you sure you're okay, babe? She says, catching him off guard in a good way. He smiles, letting out a small laugh. I'm fine, really, just a bit anxious about the next tournament, I guess. It's going to be a big one, he says, trying to lighten the mood. Speaking of which, we should probably get started on training. She eyes him suspiciously. It was your idea to skip training. Okay, Blaze, what's up? She presses, noticing his discomfort. He looks away uncomfortably. It's just, Zalcor said something to me. It got me thinking. About things. And maybe I should be training harder. He mumbles, not looking her in the eye. She frowns. What did he say? Blaze stiffens as Zalcor answers for him. Oh, not much, just that he should not be so soft. He can face me but not face the one he loves. That's all really, he says, stepping up next to him through a shadow portal. Kira glares at him, her fists balling up. That bastard, he always knows how to push my buttons, she mutters under her breath. Zalcor frowns. If you're gonna insult me, do it to my face, don't make me kill you again, sister. Blaze looks at Zalcor angrily as Kira's father appears. Seeing them, he hurries over. No. No fighting here, you sit and you sit, he says to Blaze and Zalcor. Blaze's expression shifts to discomfort as Kira's father forbids them from fighting. He glances between Kira and Zalcor, torn between his anger and his desire to protect her. You're right, we won't fight here, Kira says. Zalcor nods in annoyance. Yes, father, he says, having respect for his parent. Kira glances at him. No, we will not fight here. But we will spar, in private. That's what I want, she says, folding her arms across her chest. Zalcor glares at her, but knows better than to cross their father. Blaze looks at the frail-looking old man and then Zalcor. Why's he such a wuss towards his dad? He thinks to himself as the old man brings them drinks and has his wife bring out food. Zalcor chuckles, amused by Blaze's line of thought. Oh, that, you see, our father was one of the greatest warriors of his time. A true trailblazer. He trained both of us from birth, and he has always expected great things from us. Blaze glares at him. I don't even like Kira reading my mind. Yet alone you, he says to Zalcor as they stare each other down. Tension fills the air as they lock eyes, their auras flaring with energy. The old man's wife clears her throat, breaking the silence. Well now, why don't you all enjoy your lunch? She asks, placing a plate of steaming food in front of each of them. Suddenly Blaze and Zalcor feel small as Kira's father glares at them and they calm down to eat. As they finish eating, Zalcor gets up to leave, nodding to his parents. I know it's rude to depart first, but I have business to handle elsewhere. Thanks for the lovely dinner, Ma, and sorry if we upset you, father. He says as he begins to leave. Then pauses as if remembering something. Oh, have fun with your little bundle of joy, he says, eyeing Blaze. He stares at him a moment, then looks over at the 1-year-old playing in the sandbox as he vanishes through a shadow portal. Blaze snorts softly and shakes his head as he watches Zalcor go. He sure doesn't seem to know when to leave someone alone, he mutters under his breath before looking back at Kira. You all right? Kira waves a hand dismissively. I'm fine. Blaze glances at her sideways but decides against pressing the issue. Instead he looks at Kira's parents. It was a lovely dinner, thank you for having me, he says. They smile warmly and wave him off, telling him to stop being polite. Bored with the lack of action, he wanders off into the woods surrounding the area, finding a small clearing next to a stream, its water gently cascading over smooth rocks. He sighs and sits down cross-legged, leaning back against a large tree trunk. As he sits, the feeling of being watched comes back and he loses focus. Sighing, he looks around again, seeing no one as Kira joins him, having talked a little with her father. Sitting next to him, she studies his expression. We should have just went to train. What's bothering you? He looks over at her, then away again. I dunno. I feel like something bad's gonna happen, he says quietly, his voice filled with worry. Kira narrows her eyes as she studies him. You feel it too, don't you? That something's not right. He sighs. When did you start feeling something was off? He asks. Kira frowns. I don't know, it's just a feeling I've had lately. Like the world is tilting on its axis. She pauses, looking up at the treetops. It's hard to explain. He shrugs. It could just be nervousness from taking our relationship further, he says. Kira gives him a strange look. What do you mean by further? Are you saying that you feel something for me? She asks, tilting her head slightly. Blaze looks away, avoiding her gaze. Can we not do that right now? The whole act like you're clueless thing. 'Cause if it's not nerves from our relationship, it could be something serious. She raises an eyebrow at him. Are you trying to tell me that it could be because of something Zalcor said? She asks, her voice edged with anger. He turns to look at her. I don't know, Kira. I just get the feeling that something isn't right. ... 2 months later, Kira shouts at Blaze, having been in charge of the funds, somehow misplacing $5,000. She storms over to him, her fists clenched at her sides. You lost the money, Blaze. $5,000. How could you be so irresponsible? He tries to explain himself, but Kira cuts him off. I don't want to hear it. Look, I swear, it was in my bag, and it's just not there. I've checked the whole thing. She glares at him. Then how do you explain the amount of money missing? Do you expect me to believe that you lost that much money in the market? You're clumsy, not a baby. She snaps, her eyes narrowing as she takes a step closer. Maybe someone stole it, he says. She laughs shortly. Really, Blaze? You think anyone in this place would try to steal from us after the tournaments? Maybe you stole it. He looks at her, feeling hurt. I wouldn't do that to us, he says, exasperated. Seeing his hurt expression, she sighs and takes a step back. I'm sorry, Blaze, I didn't mean that. I know you wouldn't do that to us. But this situation is really messing with my head. She pauses, running a hand through her hair. He sighs heavily. Look, I am sorry I lost the money. I'll just have to go and make some more, he says, not wanting to argue. No, that's my job, Kira says, crossing her arms. I'm in charge of finances from now on. She glares at him. Don't make me regret this, Blaze. We can't afford to lose any more money. Okay. Later that day, as the sun sets, she returns to the room after long hours in the fields, tired and dirty. She sighs in exhaustion. Blaze, are you here? She calls out. In here. His voice comes from the opposite end of the room. He appears carefully wrapped up in a blanket, a steaming cup of tea in his hand. Seeing Kira, he smiles warmly. Oh, you're back. How was work? She cocks her head at him. Really, Blaze? She says, annoyed, gesturing to his blanket. She throws her dirty work clothes aside, revealing herself to be wearing only a thin tank top and loose pants. What? It's cold out there, and I'm freezing. Blaze pouts. Well, it's even colder outside. Where I was, she says angrily. He takes a step back. Hey, I offered to go out instead and you told me not to. She scoffs. Well, I didn't expect you to actually listen to me, she retorts, folding her arms across her chest. You know that's not like you. He sighs and puts down his tea. Look, I know I've been acting weird lately, but I'm just. She folds her arms tighter. Yeah, I know, you're sorry. Her tone makes it clear that she doesn't believe him. But that doesn't explain why you've been so distant, she says softly, her eyes searching his face for any sign of truth. He squints his eyes at her. I'm not distant, it's the same as it's always been, Kira. I've just been feeling off lately. She huffs. clearly unconvinced. Well, it's been weird. You used to tease me, call me names, make me laugh. But lately, she trails off, her voice quiet. It's like you've been trying too hard not to make me mad. There's a flash of pain in Blaze's eyes before he forces a laugh. Come on, you know I could never manage that. You're too much fun to annoy. He moves to put a reassuring hand on her shoulder, but she flinches away. Kira, he says, hurt, feeling his chest tighten as she waves him off and rushes to the shower. Looking around for his cup of tea he had set down, he gives up finding it and sits on the balcony. The scent of the ocean and fresh air, the soft sound of waves crashing against the shore provides a soothing background to the surroundings. Birds chirp and fly freely overhead, their graceful forms appearing like dancing in the sky. As he sits there, the birds seem to notice something dangerous to them and fly away, scattering into a big cloud. They move away from the nature park in the distance. Blaze sighs as their songs fade into the distance. Kira steps out of the shower, wrapping a towel around her body. She pads over to the balcony and sits next to him, brushing a lock of wet hair from her face. I'm sorry, Blaze, I miss us. The way we used to be, she says quietly. He shakes his head. Kira, we do the same things we've always done, nothing's different but how you're being. He says, a little more upset than he intended. Kira glares at him, feeling a sting in her eyes. Well, maybe I'm just tired of the routine. You work, I work, we come home, we eat, we sleep. When was the last time we actually did anything fun? Or just relaxed, she demands, her voice trembling. He looks at her. You of all people saying that. That's not what you taught me or had your magic double Lena say. What happened to everyday and normal is that's mostly what life is. He says. Kira narrows her eyes. I never said I wanted to be boring. I just miss us. I miss how close we used to be. I feel like we've been drifting apart, and I don't know how to fix it. She shrugs, looking away. Maybe this was a mistake, living together like this. He feels his annoyance rise. We've lived together for years and it's been fine. I'm sorry, but I don't get why you're being like this. They sit there in silence for a moment, the wind rustling the leaves around them. Kira takes a deep breath, trying to calm down. I'm sorry, Blaze. I don't mean to take it out on you. It's just, things have been strange lately, she says quietly. He nods. I know, I've been here in it with you this whole time, Kira. What's really bothering you? You've never been like this, he says, tearing up. Kira sighs heavily, her gaze dropping to the ground. It's just, I don't know, she mumbles, running her hands through her hair in frustration. I think I need to get away for a while. Clear my head, maybe that'll help. What do you mean get away? He asks. Kira sighs heavily, looking up at the sky. I mean, I think I need a break from everything. To go somewhere, by myself. To sort out my thoughts and feelings. She pauses, considering her words carefully. I want to see more of the world, Blaze. I want to experience new things, meet new people. He looks at her. Together, he says, unable to finish. Kira's eyes dart over to Blaze, uncertainty flickering across her features. I don't know, she admits, pursing her lips. It's not that I don't want to be with you, Blaze. It's just, I need this, for me. You understand that, right? He nods. I understand, he says as he can't hide the hurt in his voice and excuses himself to the bathroom. Blaze, she calls after him, feeling her own heart sink. He turns to her. Yeah, he says. Kira swallows hard, taking a deep breath before continuing. Look, I'm sorry I can't explain it better. I know how much this must hurt, and I'm sorry for that. But I really need this, okay? Just give me some time, and if I can't come back. Blaze nods. I understand, he replies. Just be careful, okay? Keep your guard up. I'll miss you. Kira nods. I will, and you take care too, Blaze. She says, trying her best to keep the hurt out of her voice. I'll at least stay tonight and head out in the morning, okay? She says. Unable to look her in the eyes, he nods. That's fine, I guess, he says, taking a breath. Turning on the water in the bathroom, he feels numb and suddenly it all hits him at once as he curls into a corner of the tub sobbing. Kira walks over to the bathroom and carefully knocks on the door, wincing at the sound of Blaze's sobs. Blaze, are you okay? Do you need something? She trails off, not sure what to say. He calms himself for a moment. No, I'm not okay, he says. She hesitates for a moment, her heart heavy with guilt. Do you want to talk about it? She asks softly through the door, her voice trembling slightly. Blaze starts, then breaks down into sobs again. I miss you, Kira. Kira swallows hard, her heart twisting painfully in her chest. I miss you too, Blaze, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. I never meant for things to get this complicated. I need this. That night Kira lays with him in the bed as he faces the balcony. Blaze, she says. He turns his head slightly, not wanting to face her but unable to ignore her. What? He asks softly. She hesitates, then takes a deep breath. I'm sorry, for everything I've done to hurt you, for hurting you. He shakes his head. It's not your fault. I shoulda just listened to you. Maybe you were right before, maybe we shoulda just stayed friends. Kira sits up and turns toward him, her eyes glistening in the moonlight. It was never that simple, Blaze. I love you, and I know you feel the same way. Maybe if we had been just friends, it would have been easier. He turns to face her. Easier. Being just friends when you love someone. I'd rather be dead, he says and then turns around. Kira's heart breaks all over again at his words, but she forces herself not to cry. Instead, she reaches out and gently lays a hand on his shoulder. I know it's hard, but we can try. We can try and go back to how things were before. Before you left, before we. He gets out of the bed. Before I left, I never went anywhere, Kira. You're the one that went off by yourself for years trying to make things better with your visions, and you were gone for a year as my whole world was centered on you and the service. I had no choice in that, he says, crying. She watches him with a broken heart as he paces the room. She wants to reach out to him, to comfort him, but she's not sure if that's what he needs. Blaze. She whispers, feeling helpless. I know it's hard for you. He stops pacing. The old Kira would just smack me in the head and tell me to keep going, instead of just sit there, he says. She laughs, a hoarse and broken sound. Well, if it makes you feel any better, the new Kira says that too. You've done so much for me already, Blaze. You helped me find myself again, and you helped me become stronger. Now it's my turn to do the same for you. You don't understand what that even means, seeing how you already did that. Or did you forget Lena was parts of you as she stopped that world-ending thing that I was becoming? Or all the years you led me to be a better person? He tells her. Kira's eyes widen, and she hesitates for a moment before speaking. I never meant to forget any of that. She sighs, frustrated with herself. I guess I just wanted to hear you say it. That it mattered, that it wasn't all for nothing. He shakes his head. If you're not the same and I'm not the same, then what is there anymore if you leave? She glances at him, the pain in her eyes unmistakable. You'll always be a part of me, Blaze. We grew up together, we've shared so many memories. Even if we change, and even if we're apart, that won't change. She takes a step closer to him. Blaze suddenly feels he's being watched again and looks around annoyed. Okay, who's spying on me, huh? Come out, you coward, he says, catching Kira off guard. Her eyes narrow. What do you mean, who's spying on you? She asks, warily glancing around. The next morning as Kira readies to leave. I'll be back, Just be here when I return. Please, Blaze, I know things are complicated now, but I do love you. I have to do this, she whispers, feeling her own heart hurt. Dot dot. Dot dot. A month later, Blaze is walking the city alone, not really paying attention to anything, the people and carriages hurrying along the street. You know, it's a shame it's gone that way. Can't win 'em all though, Blaze, Zalcor says as he sits nearby. Blaze takes a seat next to him on the bench. I'm not looking for trouble, Zalcor. What do you want? Zalcor smirks, his eyes glinting with malice. Oh, I don't know. Maybe a favor. Something to repay you for your kind actions that day. His voice drips with sarcasm. Blaze frowns, memories of their past exchange flooding his thoughts as he glares at him. A favor for you, as if, he says, getting up. Zalcor grabs his shoulder and stands, keeping his grip. He sighs. I take it you don't know. He smirks. What? Kira hasn't told you that you have a baby coming? Was just gonna ask you to keep my nephew safe when she returns. He chuckles. Blaze looks at him in shock and disbelief. You lie. Laughing darkly, he grins. Believe what you wish. I'm not here to lie, just to ask for a favor. He releases his grip, looking down at him with a predatory gaze. He then smirks. Don't mess it up. It'll kill you, either inside or literally, he says, smiling at his own dark humor. As World Ender walks away, Blaze is unsure what to think and sits back onto the bench. Suddenly feeling he's being watched again, but ignores it. Nothing ever there anyway, he says as his mind processes what Zalcor of all people just told him. Dot. 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 After another month, he's at the inn after a hard day's work. Hey, he hears from the doorway. Looking up from being lost in his thoughts, he sees Kira, slowly peeking through the door. Hey Kira, Blaze answers quietly as he slowly stands from where he had been sitting, watching her warily. What do you want? He crosses his arms over his chest, and the muscles in his shoulders bunch beneath the fabric of his shirt. She sits on the bed, unable to look at him. Did Zalcor tell you about our son? She asks, holding her belly. He did, but I thought he was full of it, he tells her. She looks at him incredulously. I'm not lying to you. It's the truth. I've seen the same things he did in my dreams. I'm just as much a part of it as you are. He wants you to keep our son safe, for me. Her voice shaky, but determined as she scoots over next to him. Looking at her, he asks, Are you sure it's ours though? She looks at him as if he killed a puppy and smacks him across the face. Of course it's yours, you're the only one I've been with like that, Blaze. She says, her voice full of hurt. He reaches up to touch the spot where she slapped him, wincing slightly as his hand comes away red from his now cut lip. He meets her eyes, and sees the pain and hurt there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. It's just so much to take in. She gasps silently a moment, remembering their past loss, shocked at her own reaction. Blaze, I'm sorry. Seeing the hurt in her eyes, he quickly moves to reassure her, gently cupping her cheek in his hand. It's okay, Kira, I know it is. I'm not used to all this. To having feelings like this, and no one's hunting us except Zalcor. And before we had to give. She quickly hugs him tightly, surprising him. Shish, I know. And Blaze, I'm sorry I left like I did. I'm still kinda all over the place cause of the pregnancy. And I shouldn't have pushed you away. Please forgive me, Blaze, I want us to be together. To be a family. He returns the hug, her tears soaking into his shirt. Of course, Kira, I forgive you. I never stopped loving you. I was scared too, he whispers into her hair, feeling the warmth of her body against his. He wipes away her tears. You know, dum-dum, we probably could have figured that out together. If I hadn't been such a coward. I never wanted you to go in the first place. She chuckles tearfully. I know. I was scared too, she says, then kisses him, the kiss becoming slow and passionate. She wraps her arms around his neck while he holds her close, feeling her body pressing against his. A surge of energy pulsing through them both. A warm glow fills the room, surrounding them in a cocoon of golden light. Dot. 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 The next month they are walking through the park as the birds race around the trees. Kira nudges Blaze. What about that one? She says, pointing to a job flyer on a posting board. It pays okay and wouldn't be too hard to do. She smiles, holding her growing belly. He looks over the flyer, noting it's for a general handyman position at a nearby inn. He glances at her, and smiles softly. That might be perfect. The pay's good, and it's close by. We could handle it together. He grabs one of their flyers and puts it into his pocket. Suddenly a wave of paranoia washes over him, the feeling of being watched continuously increasing in its frequency. Kira snaps her fingers in his face. Hey, Earth to idiot, you okay? She asks, concerned, following his gaze, and her expression darkens slightly as she realizes what he's feeling. Oh, she murmurs under her breath. That's probably just us being paranoid. No need to worry about that now. He nods. Yeah, I always look and nothing is there. Probably just nervous or more stressed than we realize, he says, seeing the birds flee from around the tree where the feeling came from. Dot. Dot. At 9 months along, Kira goes into labor as she sits in the bed in their new home. Blaze. I think it's time, she cries as her contractions start. Blinking with surprise, he rushes over to her side. Kira, are you sure? We don't have a midwife or anything. What are we going to do? He asks, his mind racing with panic. I'm sure, Blaze, trust me, just try to calm down. She controls her breathing a moment. Dot. 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 My stepmother is a midwife. Hurry and get her, please. She groans as the contractions get closer together. He takes a deep breath, trying to calm down himself. Right, okay, I'll go get her. Stay here, and don't push yet, okay? He says, darting over to his in-laws just down the road. Dot. 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 A few hours later, Blaze and Kira smile at their beautiful newborn boy. Hey little guy, Blaze whispers lovingly with a smile as his son grips his finger. The boy's tiny fist curls tighter, his eyes sparkling with determination. Oh, he's a fighter, Kira remarks, smiling warmly at their child. Just like his parents. As they watch their son, Blaze glances at Kira and thinks about how much they've been through together. And things left behind. Dot. 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 The next tournament arrives, Blaze entering to win some extra prize money to get Kira and their son Dante a few extra gifts. As the day of the tournament starts, Blaze laughs softly at Kira's joke, wiping some sweat from his brow. Yeah, we don't really need it, but I want to do something nice for you guys. He says, glancing over at Dante, who's still fast asleep in his crib. It's funny, though, he thinks a moment. You know, it's probably nothing, but I feel like I missed something, he says, confused. She raises an eyebrow. Like what? Another signal from your friend? She asks, a hint of sarcasm in her voice. Or maybe someone else needs you, huh? They both know it's Zalcor, Kira's deranged brother. As he readies for his fight with Zalcor once more, he looks around and realizes. Hey, haven't felt like I'm being watched in the few weeks since Dante was born. That had to be it then. He says, nodding as he smiles. Kira grabs Dante as he stirs, then pecks Blaze on the cheek. We'll be rooting for you, Daddy, she says, helping Dante wave as he smiles and giggles. Blaze nods, his expression softening. Thanks, kid, I'll try not to disappoint you or your mother. Now try and get some rest, okay? He gently strokes the baby's hair before kissing his forehead. Standing up, he kisses Kira. Dot. 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 As he stands across from Zalcor in the arena's last match of the tournament, Zalcor seems extremely happy. Nice to see you here again, Blaze. Hope you've been taking good care of my nephew for me. Beautiful day, isn't it? Blaze glares at him, his expression cold. I have, and I've been doing my best to keep Kira and him safe from you, you sick monster. But it ends today, he says, tensing his muscles. Zalcor laughs, a chilling sound that echoes through the arena. It's not me you have to worry about. He holds up his fist with something in his hand. Maybe after we can grab some tea, he says, holding up a cup with a chip in it. Blaze's expression goes blank, his mind jumping back to just before Kira left and he lost his teacup in their room. Is that my teacup? What did you do, Zalcor? He says, clenching his fist. The man chuckles, his eyes seeming to glow with malice. Oh, I didn't do anything. Well, one thing. He opens his palm, a dragon-like four-legged humanoid creature appears looking at the ground motionless. Blaze cocks his head. Okay, that's not so bad, he says. Some in the crowd gasp, recognizing the very rare and dangerous creature, catching Blaze's attention. What do they know about that thing? He thinks. The announcer finishes his introductions, and as they await the start, the creature raises its energy and Blaze stares in confusion as it copies his own aura, letting out a jaguar lion roar. Fight. The creature looks up from the ground at him, its gaze carrying the familiar feeling of being watched. A person in the crowd comments, "Wow, a real legendary creature. It must not be very old either." Blaze tears his face away from its paralyzing eyes and looks just off to its side. It then explodes into a dust-spewing crater, startling Blaze as it lands a heavy-fisted claw to his gut. Lashing out at it, the creature is too fast and jumps out of reach. Zalcor landing an earth-shaking kick to his face, but he rolls away, lessening the impact. Shish. Ha, he shouts as the creature darts in with a heavy tackle and darts away faster than the crater can form. Blaze is blasted across the ring, tearing up the ground as he comes to a stop. Rolling out of the way as he gasps for breath, he avoids a foot stomp from Zalcor and moves right into the creature's punch that floors him, the shockwave crackling the new safety barriers. Zalcor grabs him by his head and picks him up, holding him close to his face. "You like my new pet? It's been watching and learning from you all this time. You'd have noticed its other effect as well. Go ahead, go all out against us. I'll even let you face the summons, one-on-one first," he says as Blaze recovers and breaks free. Landing a few yards away, he glares at Zalcor. "I don't care how it goes down. I'm sick of your games, Zalcor," he says, gritting his teeth. The creature steps between him and Zalcor, readying itself. Dashing forward, Blaze charges an energy punch. As his attack approaches, the creature seems to take it in purpose, trying to die, and Blaze offsets the hit to a glancing blow. As he strikes it, a pulse goes out that Blaze reacts to, but it does nothing to him. Kira watches, her nerves on edge, as a pulse comes from the creature and passes by, causing the crowd to flinch and Dante to cry. Just then Zalcor interferes, shunting Blaze into the wall near where Kira and the baby watch with the other spectators. He pushes himself up and looks at Kira and Dante, noticing his son is crying. I could be wrong, but isn't that a cry of pain or annoyance? He instinctively thinks. Rolling away from a clawed hand, he sees the creature is wounded in the right shoulder from his previous attack. He then feels Zalcor grab his head and shove it into the magic safety barrier, stunning him. He shakes his head as he stumbles. When did my son get that? He thinks to himself, seeing a bruise. A punch knocks the wind out of him as he is rocketed towards center ring, where the creature intercepts with an axe kick. It then retreats and stands there as Zalcor lands beside it. Oh, come on. I'll even let you get in a free good hit. Just take it. This thing has no life or free will, killing it won't kill you. Or maybe you're too weak to beat this toddler of a creature, he says. Blaze's anger boils over at Zalcor's words, obscuring his vision as he runs forward. His hands glow with white light. Again the creature moving, trying to take a fatal blow, and again Blaze pulls it back, only injuring it, and another pulse flashes by. This time Blaze follows it with his senses out of curiosity. And Blaze's eyes fill with red-hot rage. What did you do? What did you do? He roars as he dashes at Zalcor. The creature tries to attack, but Blaze evades and avoids it, looking over at Kira and his son, then back at the creature. He pulls a magic dagger and slips past the creature, cutting its forehead as he pays attention. A small cut opens on his son's head in roughly the same spot as the pulse reaches him. Blaze feels like his heart stops in his chest, dropping his knife. Zalcor grins. I told you, it would be the death of you either way, didn't? He says as Blaze looks at him. And one more thing, he says pointing to the creature. Grows fast and hardly noticeable. Just a small cut in the side. Blaze stumbles back, furious that he had missed such a thing. I'll kill you, he growls, firing a blast at Zalcor, who rolls out of the way, merging with the summoned creature. Blaze stares as Zalcor smiles from within it. Kill who? Me? No, you'd just hurt your son at this point. Blaze drops to his knees, clueless about how to get out of this. He looks over at Kira and his son, wondering if she has even noticed the creature's link to him. He looks at Zalcor in the creature's body, feeling white-hot anger. Kira holds her son, unable to comprehend her brother's evil as she realizes what's going on. Looking at the creature in horror. This is all my fault. I trusted you. I gave you a second chance. He shakes his head, trying to dispel the fog of anger and confusion. Zalcor chuckles. You can't just knock this one out either. Takes so much to do. Any human would die long before this thing falls. He says, then charges. Blaze quickly dodges the brutal charge of his twisted brother-in-law. How could you do this? He shouts as he refuses to fight back. Your own nephew, a child, he fumes, evading. Kira watches helplessly, a torrent of confusion and rage swirling in her chest. Let him go, she snarls, her voice like razors. Zalcor, stop it, she cries to deaf ears. Others in the crowd having caught on to the creature's effect as well. Blaze closes his eyes as he evades another attack. As he lands, the creature sprints at him, striking. Kira jerks, gasping, unable to breathe as the creature's claw slams into Blaze's chest, sending out a massive blast wave. Blaze grits his teeth, the impact of the blow shattering his ribs and sending him crashing across the ring, leaving a trail of blood in his wake. As his vision blurs, he glances at Kira, pain and fear etched into his features. Kira, Dante, I love you, he projects mentally towards them just before the world goes black. Kira screams in agony as she sees Blaze injured. Tears stream down her face as she watches her brother mercilessly beat him. How could he do this? She thinks to herself. There's a final massive impact and the arena goes quiet. Kira staggers forward, her gaze locked on Blaze's motionless form. Her heart feels like it's been ripped from her chest, tears stream down her face unchecked. The air thick with the coppery scent of blood, and the sound of labored breathing fills the silence. Zalcor's summons evaporates. As he walks towards Blaze, struggling and uselessly gasping for air, he smirks. Pathetic. Spare. Though I'd be surprised if you even survive the next 30 seconds. Zalcor says, ending the round. Kira, her fists clenched and her eyes narrowed, struggles to contain her rage as she seethes at Zalcor. She tries to will herself forward, to attack him and avenge Blaze's injuries. To give into energy from the darkness but something holds her back. Handing Dante to her father, she rushes to Blaze's side. She fumbles for his hand, trying to hold on to him, willing her life energy into him. Please, she whispers, you can't leave me like this. Her words barely audible, choked with tears and desperation. The medical staff gently move her aside and take over, quickly rushing Blaze to the infirmary. She looks over at her brother. Don't you ever come near my son or my family again. Of all the things, our son, your nephew. Only someone truly weak would do such a thing, she says, full of malice and hate, before following the medical staff. Blaze awakens slowly, his eyes fluttering open as he gazes up at the ceiling of the medical wing. He tries to move, to sit up, but he's in too much pain. Kira, he whispers, where is she? The memory of their sparring session from earlier that day seems like a distant dream. She leans over him as the machines breathe for him and kisses his forehead. Shish. It's okay. I'm here, she says, still full of dread and fear, as Blaze weakly grasps her hand. He looks into her eyes and sighs, the exhaustion apparent in his voice. Kira, he hurt our son. He starts, but she shakes her head and gives him a small, tired smile. I know. Just rest, okay? Concentrate on getting better, she says cheerfully. When you well enough they'll let Dante in to see you too. Just please stay with us. ... A few months later, Kira sits on a park bench watching Dante play in the sandbox with his new friends, chirping birds racing around the buildings and trees of the forest park. She wipes away a tear and gives a small frown. Hey, everything okay? Blaze asks as he sits with her. She nods. Yeah, I'm fine, just remembering things, she says quietly. He lets out a sigh of pain. Glad that court date went well. Since Zalcor's involvement of a child is leverage. They've banned all types of transfer summons and other types of transfer magic. He says, looking lovingly at his son. She smiles. That is good. So what was their ruling on Zalcor's punishment? He looks at her, his expression serious. He was stripped of his title and privileges, and banished from the Muram world. They deemed his actions too great a threat to the delicate balance between good and evil. Blaze pauses, wondering how to continue. Kira, I want you to know though, if I ever see him again I'll kill him. Her eyes widen slightly, and she places a hand on his knee. You can't do that, Blaze. Vengeance will only make you weak, she says, her voice soft and pleading. He is gone, and there's no sense in letting him win by dragging us both down. He glares at her. Kira, he did that in front of the whole world that was watching. Our son would be dead if I hadn't noticed. If anyone deserves to die, it's Zalcor. Imagine what he'd do in secret if he did that in public. He says with finality. Kira looks back at him, her expression softening. I know you're angry and hurt, but seeking revenge will only consume you. You need to let it go for your sake, and our son's. She reaches up to touch his cheek, her thumb tracing over his skin. I know. That's why I'm not hunting him down now. If he tries again I won't just kill him for no reason. His terror on the defenseless and weak will end if he ever steps to me again. He says. Kira looks at him for a moment, considering his words. Then, slowly, she nods. I understand. I'll help you find him, if that's what it takes. But, I want you to promise me something, okay? Promise me that you won't kill him unless it's absolutely necessary. He hugs her in his arm. Didn't I just say that? Well, sort of. Not exactly like you said, but really. If necessary. Kira smiles, relieved. Okay, well, just be careful, all right? You don't want to end up like him. She presses her forehead against his chest, closing her eyes for a moment before taking a deep breath. But enough of that, let's get you cleaned up, okay? As she grabs Dante from the sandbox. Blaze looks around and sees a man he recognizes. Mikhail, been a long time, how's it going? He asks, hugging him. Yeah, it has been a while. Mikhail responds nonchalantly, tossing a casual salute in Blaze's direction. Can't complain too much. Yourself. He seems to sense that something's off, but doesn't pry any further. He looks at Blaze. And buddy, don't worry about Zalcor. I handled that already. No one hurts my nephew and I'm not as forgiving as you. He says. Kira glares at him and Blaze shakes his head. Was he at least trying to kill you? Blaze asks. Mikhail chuckles. Look who you're talking to. Of course he tried to kill me. Had to save a family to so. Wasn't just for revenge, he says, nodding at Kira. Blaze grins and throws his arm around Mikhail's shoulder. I forgive you, Blaze says. Come on, let's go get cleaned up at our place. We can all catch up and relax a bit. Kira's a great cook and our new roommate Zara. You might like her, he tells him. Kira sighs, rolling her eyes at Blaze's antics. Come on, let's go, she says, leading the way back to their home. As they approach, Blaze spots a piece of ripped paper tacked to the door. He picks it up, furrowing his brow. "What's that?" Mikhail asks, following his gaze. He unfolds the note, which reads, "Hey kid, you're not as smart as you think you are. Maybe it's time we had a little chat." Blaze looks around, not seeing anyone. "Mikhail, would you say that's a threat note or just an I want to talk to you note?" he says, showing him the paper. "I'd say it's definitely a threat note," Mikhail replies, his tone serious. "We should be careful." He glances at Kira, then back at Blaze. "But don't worry, buddy. Whatever it is, we'll handle it together." As Dante turns 3, Blaze is out looking for a toy he wanted from a newspaper. He sighs, dropping his head as he's been looking all day with no luck. Looking around at the vendors and shops, he scratches his head. "Damn it, one toy, just one, and I can't find it anywhere," he thinks. He stops a moment to rest as his phantom pain in his ribs returns. He grunts, feeling the bones that no longer exist in his chest and sides. He feels the stainless steel ribs and chest plate under his skin. After steeling himself for the walk, not wanting to, he returns home and stops by the shop near the house. He walks over to the display, ignoring the auras of the vendors. His gaze drawn to a colorful, but sturdy set of wooden blocks with various animals carved into them. Looking at the other items, he grabs the blocks. Too big to choke on, not so big it'll hurt anything, he thinks as he gets in line. As he waits in line, a hooded figure dressed in black approaches. They lean in close, their voice tickling his ear as they murmur, "You can buy that toy, but it'll cost you." Blaze turns his head slowly, their gaze meeting his through the slits in the hood. He eyes the man. I have to buy it with money," he says. The hooded figure chuckles darkly and shakes their head. "No, I mean it will cost you. That toy is cursed. If you buy it, a great evil will be unleashed upon the world, and only your death can stop it. Of course, we could make a deal." Blaze looks at the ordinary-looking blocks. "Are you crazy?" he asks, concerned for the man. The hooded figure shrugs, unperturbed. "Call it a warning, then. Your choice. But consider this. Sometimes, the greatest good can only come from facing the greatest evil. And if you do choose to purchase those blocks, well, at least you'll know what you're getting into." He turns to the man. "So it would be a bad gift for a 3-year-old if it's cursed like that, right?" He asks to see what he says. Looking back to the cashier, he pulls out his wallet. The hooded figure laughs. "That all depends on the intentions of the giver. Some might see it as a test of the child's strength and courage. Others might use it as an opportunity to sow discord among loved ones. The decision is yours, Blaze." I never told him my name," he thinks, turning towards him to see he's vanished into thin air. "Maybe he recognized me from one of the tournaments," he tells himself. He scans the blocks with his sensing ability just in case and finds nothing suspicious. He hands the money over to the cashier, takes his change and the blocks. After a quick goodbye, he leaves the toy store and heads back home. As he walks, his phantom pain acts up, causing him to gasp in pain, and he leans on a tree till he can catch his breath. As Blaze leans against the tree, he suddenly senses the unmistakable presence of magic emanating from somewhere nearby. His trained senses immediately go on high alert, and he begins to scan his surroundings for the source. He walks following it, and is less than pleased when he sees it is the dark hooded figure from the shop. "Wait, is he at my house? Okay, who is this guy?" he thinks as he approaches. Well, it seems we meet again, Blaze," the dark hooded figure says as he stands in front of the door to Blaze's home. His voice echoes with a sinister tone, almost as if he's taunting the young outlier. Blaze stands by the man as he blocks his path inside. "Who are you and how do you know me?" he says, raising his aura's power level. The hooded figure chuckles darkly. I'm hurt. "You don't remember me." He steps closer to Blaze, his presence pushing harder against the younger man's senses. I suppose it doesn't matter. Let's just say I've been keeping tabs on you for a while now. Blaze puts a hand on the man's shoulder. I have a son and wife here, I thinks it's time for you to go. He says sternly. The dark hooded figure laughs maliciously. Oh, I knew you were involved with that child, he says, gesturing toward the door. But I didn't expect you to be so attached. He pauses, watching Blaze carefully. Or perhaps you simply enjoy the extra income. Blaze punches the man in the face without really thinking about it. That's my son you're talking about in there, he shouts. Now get off my property, he growls. You're foolish, Blaze, you should have just stayed out of it, he says, rubbing his jaw. But alas, your meddling has brought this upon you. Kira and Mikhail hear the commotion and come outside. Mikhail sees the strange man and stands in his face. What's the problem here? 'Cause if it has to with Blaze, it involves us all. The stranger begins to laugh more maliciously. Oh, so you're involved too, aren't you? The little parasite seems to have attached itself to quite the collection of simps. He turns his attention back to Blaze. But you, Blaze, you should have known better. Blaze charges an energy punch. Did you just call my 3-year-old human child a parasite? He says, glaring at the man. The man nods and Blaze swings again. Wait, Zalcor said. He thinks seeing the man move to take the hit. Guys, wait. He says mentally in a fraction of a second, pulling his punch. He instead grabs the man by his robe and pushes against the wall. Are you talking about a legendary creature that transfers damage and is also, because of Zalcor's plot, my child? He asks. The stranger nods, clearly taken aback by Blaze's sudden change of tactics. He's truly your son, incredible, I didn't know. I thought. He trails off, seeming to hesitate for a moment. Well, it doesn't matter now. Blaze sighs annoyed. Is this thing the thing you're actually looking for? He says and sends the man a mental image of the creature Zalcor had summoned. The stranger nods, startled by Blaze's sudden show of mental prowess. Yes, that's it, my master's servant, but he's grown powerful, and we've come to take it back. His voice trembles with fear, but he tries to maintain his composure. Blaze lets the man go and takes a step back. So then why are you here trying to take my human, not summoned creature son? The stranger looks at Blaze with a mix of awe and pity. Your brother, he's gone mad with power. He's using that creature as a tool, a weapon. He doesn't care about the consequences. We thought if we could take your son back, we could use him to reason with your brother. Blaze looks at Mikhail. You said you killed Zalcor. Mikhail looks at him confused. I did kill Zalcor. You know how I do things and that I'm as strong as you. If I say he's dead, he's dead. Unless that blue wave that went out was a bad thing. Blaze's body relaxes from numb rage as he thinks back. He looks at Kira. Honey, I know you don't like doing it. But, will you read Dante's mind? From here. Do not let him know you're doing it, he says. She glares at him. Why, she says. As he looks her in the eyes, she can tell he is terrified. I remember the day Mikhail killed Zalcor. The blue wave of energy like the ones from the creature. That transferred the damage. I saw a wave kind of like it the day Zalcor was killed. I thought I had imagined it or that it was something else, as some stuff does look kinda like it. It's sick but really smart. Spherical wave of effect that targets its victim without actually showing who it's targeting till it's too late. And I looked it up. That creature can. He gasps breathlessly. Calming himself down, he continues. Can transfer a mind and soul, if the person is willing to lose their body and take another's. It was made illegal because it requires a child. He says, clenching his fist as angry 3 to 4 inch sparks around them damaging his own skin. She looks at Blaze for a moment, taking in his expression of fear and horror. Then, with a deep breath, she nods. All right, I'll try. She takes a step back, focusing her attention on Dante. An intense concentration washes over Kira's features as she reaches out with her mind, seeking to make contact with Dante's. It takes several long moments of strain before she finally manages to pierce through his defenses. As she focuses, she shakes her head. He shouldn't have defenses like this, she whispers. Blaze's fists clench tighter as he sits. Kira gets through, seeing the core of Dante's mind. No, she cries, covering her lips as she runs inside. In disbelief, Mikhail sits across from Blaze. I didn't know, man, he says, ashamed of his accidental hand in events. Blaze vanishes as the perch where he was sitting turns to splinters from his acceleration and he jumps to the moon through an invisible frequency-based portal in the sky. Mikhail looks up at the moon as its surface ignites in flashes of red, blue and white. Mikhail sighs. He probably passed out from that. I'll be right back, you dark robe guy. Don't go anywhere, he says, then rushes to retrieve Blaze through the portal. He returns as Kira reaches the door and tearfully invites everyone inside. She sees Mikhail carrying Blaze and makes room for him to get inside the house. Is he okay? She says. ... Blaze wakes in pain. Feel like I've been hit by a train. Or 10. He says, barely able to move. Mikhail sighs. You almost killed yourself with that last output of power, he says, pausing. Blaze interrupts him with a wave. I just want to see my son, he says as he slowly pushes himself up in the bed. Blaze looks up at his brother and past him to Kira. Please, I just want to see Dante, but I can't really move, he manages as he sits propped up with pillows. Kira nods, brushing tears from her eyes. Of course, Blaze. As she makes her way over to him, Blaze notices a sense of longing and regret in her eyes. She kneels by his bedside, taking his hand gently in hers. I'm sorry for everything, Blaze. For leaving, for not being there when you needed me. It was Zalcor and that thing. Messing with us, making us paranoid and fight each other. Zalcor, he is in our son's mind and body. He doesn't have control though, she whispers tearfully. The dark-robed man looks at Blaze. Was never about the blocks. Just didn't know how to tell you that, and I apologize for my attitude. You were just so hostile. But I can't understand why, he says. There is a way to ensure he stays your sweet boy. Blaze looks at him. I'm not amateur. Let's do it. Put that bastard Zalcor and that creature inside me and let's get this over with, he says without hesitation. Kira shakes her head. No, it doesn't work that way. It's complicated. And dangerous. We need to find a different way. Please trust me, she pleads, squeezing his hand gently. Mikhail watches the exchange, not sure what to make of it. Kira nods, brushing tears from her eyes. I know you're not, and I appreciate that. But trust me, there is a way to save your son without putting yourself or Dante at any more risk than necessary. I promise I'll help you. She squeezes his hand reassuringly. Blaze looks at Kira with hope and desperation in his eyes. All right, anything. I trust you. But if there is a way, I will find him, I will make him pay, he says, the determination clear in his voice. Kira smiles weakly, relief flooding through her. The hooded man stands next to Blaze. You might be able to pull it off. But if you don't, both you and your son will die. Or one if you will become Zalcor and eventually be taken over. As much as Blaze wants to fight him right now, he knows they need more information. He glances at Kira, then back at the man, slowly nodding. All right, let's hear it. What is it you want? He asks, his voice low and dangerous. The man pulls back his hood, revealing his face. The sinister figure known as the Hooded Man lifts his hood, revealing his face to be covered in scars. His eyes are cold and calculating. I want you to do one thing for me, Blaze. Something that will help me save my brother from Zalcor's grasp, he says in a calm and low voice. Blaze cocks his head at the man. You're the mind of that creature inside a man if I didn't know any better. He says. The hooded man smiles, a cold expression that doesn't reach his eyes. Dante is my brother. I did share a mental link with him, but Zalcor messed that up. Used to help guide him and keep him in check. But I am my own person, with my own thoughts and desires. Not some lifeless thing like he told you in that ring 3 years ago. And I never asked to be made, he says. Blaze shakes his head. So, I punch my 3-year-old, summon creature son. In a random person's body. In the face. I don't know how to take that. That is what you're saying, right? He says to the man. The hooded man sighs, his expression softening slightly. Yes, that is what I'm saying. It was not your fault though. Zalcor tricked you. He manipulated everything to make it seem that way. Your son, my brother, even the creature I was. All of it. He loved the torment. And rubbing it in, he says. Blaze looks at him and realizes why he hasn't said a name. My son, your name will be Zeus. That's your name, Blaze says to the 3-year-old legendary creature that latched onto the only thing it could to survive. Kira watches the exchange between the hooded man and Blaze with a growing sense of unease. She knows Blaze will need her help if he's going to navigate through this web of lies and deception. Deciding to trust her instincts, she steps forward and clears her throat. All right, just how dumb do we look? You don't even act like you're 3 years old, she says. The hooded man's gaze flickers to Kira. I can prove it. I am 3 but also a legendary creature and have magic mom. You could say Zalcor did that to me as well. And mom, sorry about the cut on your side at the inn, it was the only not gross way to get out. I didn't want to fight but it just hurt so much, he says looking away as he sits down. Mikhail studies the man, then goes into another room. Pulling out his phone he calls his CO on Earth. Yeah, General, you know that flesh we got from that creature thing. The blue one from 3 years ago. He waits a moment. Yep, that's the one. What did the DNA testing show? You did do that for cloning purposes, right? Okay, so whose DNA is it? Interesting. Okay, whatever. I have the clearance anyway. My clearance is that none of you can stop me and you need me, so let me do my thing here. Great talking to you, he says, then sighs, hanging up. Great conversation. Walking back into the room he pats Kira on the shoulder. You can punch in the face now or later. But that, he gestures towards the adult-looking 3-year-old. I killed my legendary creature nephew, and that guy talking to you is the mind of your would-be 3-year-old twin son. I just confirmed both you and Blaze are actually the only DNA present in its tissues. Meaning it was a magic transformation and you were supposed to have twins. The room is dead silent as it takes Kira a moment to register what she's been told. Blaze holds Dante close. It's gonna be okay. I promise, he says, looking at Zeus and Dante. Blaze starts wondering and turns to Zeus. Can you switch bodies whenever you want to? He asks. Yes, Zeus says, nodding solemnly. I can switch between bodies whenever I need to. It's a useful ability, especially when dealing with enemies or trying to stay safe. He glances at Kira, and then back to Blaze. Do you have any specific questions about it? Kira turns to him. Can you inhabit a magic construct? And what about the guy you're in now? Is he dead? She says. Zeus nods. I can inhabit any physical body, whether it's human, animal, or even magical construct. However, for an artificial construct to be able to host my spirit, it would have to be specifically designed and enchanted for that purpose. As for the body I am in now, I'm not the owner. He is still alive, his mind's intact, and he actually helped me willingly. He has kind of an attitude with adults though. Kids he likes, adults not so much. Zeus pauses. But I want to help so I can't be 3 again yet. Blaze looks at his son, Zeus. You need to be able to be a kid. I know what it's like to be young and in a war zone or a life and death battle. You should never have to know those things. Not at this age, no one really should, he says, crying. Kira looks between the two, her expression growing more concerned. Zeus, do you want to stay in this body and help us, or be a kid like your twin brother? It's up to you. You understand it enough, she says quietly, placing a hand on his shoulder. Zeus frowns. I don't know. I want to help, but being a kid, I mean, I've been in an adult 3 years. I want to be like my twin, he says. Blaze looks at his son with tears in his eyes. Then you shall have that chance. We will find a way to separate you from this form, Zeus. I promise, he says. Kira glances at him, unsure if he truly means what he's saying. She asks everyone to go into the other room a moment so she and Blaze can talk in private. He pushes himself up in the bed as the door shuts and Kira sits next to him. I don't know if we can save him. I don't, she says, crying into his chest. Blaze looks at her. He is our son. We are all he has. We can save him together, he says, putting his hand on her shoulder. We have to try. He wipes her tears away softly with his finger and holds her close. We will find a way, Kira. We have to, for him and for us. He kisses her gently as she lays beside him. Whatever happens, we won't lose them. I'm scared to, but we can't give up. Or let them see us to broken up, he says, wiping her tears. She looks up at him, tears still in her eyes but their edge softened by his words. You're right, Blaze. We won't lose them. We'll find a way to save them both. As Blaze looks at her, remembering something. Hey, you can see future visions. Did you know all this was gonna happen? He asks her. Kira starts, looking away. I've seen glimpses, flashes. I've never been certain what they meant, and I never let myself dwell on them. But I don't see everything. I knew that this would happen, but I didn't know She hesitates, crying. We have another son, she says. Kira, what happens best case for us in your visions? He asks. She closes her eyes, trying to remember. There is hope. It's vague, but there is a chance for us to come out stronger. For Zeus to return to who he was. For us to rebuild our lives. But we have to be careful, Blaze. I can't see everything and some things are a jumbled mess until they're right around the corner. And I see there's a darkness in us we can't give into. Blaze drops his head, remembering his demonic fox form fueled by the empty energy of the void. We've destroyed and ruled planets in a demon-possessed rage before. Not this life but others, he says. Kira sighs. I know. Don't remind me. Kira looks at him. You know, Blaze, sometimes I wonder if we deserve this chance at redemption. If we really can change, or if we're just doomed to repeat our past mistakes. Her voice carries a hint of despair. Well, I don't know. But it's not like we haven't improved a lot. Maybe still cursed to reincarnate, but at least we figured out we were human and tricked a long time ago. He says. Kira nods slowly, taking comfort in his words. Yeah, we've come a long way, haven't we? Maybe there is hope for us yet. She looks up at him, her eyes shining with determination. But we have to keep working at it, Blaze. And save our children. Blaze wipes a strand of hair out of Kira's eyes and holds it against his finger. We will. We can do this. You can teach me, and I can help you, he says with a reassuring smile. You know, my father once told me that strength alone does not make a person strong. She glares at him. I told you that, she says, smirking. Don't make me have to embarrass you at the training grounds again. Even though I know you let me win. He tilts his head, giving her a small smile. Actually, at the same power level. You beat me easily on your own. I use way more energy than you just to keep up, he says, kissing her. The kiss is soft, full of affection and tenderness. Kira returns it with the same strength of feeling, her arms wrapping around his neck. Their embrace feels warm, and their energy flows together, blending in a dance of desire and need. As Kira begins preparing for the 10-hour construct creation, she gathers all the things she needs as Blaze, Mikhail and Zeus head out to gather what's needed to purge Zalkor's soul from Dante's body. 2 days having passed since Kira and Blaze's intimate moment, they finally meet up at the agreed-upon location. Standing before a towering construct, a glowing barrier surrounding it. Kira gestures to the construct with a nod. It'll even be actual flesh and blood, no different than if we tested Dante's cells, she says nervously. The tower pulsing with power as a bright sphere appears in its mechanism, Kira pouring energy into the machine. As the light fades, a small boy looks out at them unmoving for a moment, then there's a bright discharge that blinds the group. White and gold sparks arcing around him a moment. Kira and Blaze rush over. Mom, Dad, it worked, Zeus says as they scoop him up in a big hug. A nearby shimmer catches their eyes as it distorts the landscape for a moment before resolving back to normal. A faint, ethereal figure standing some distance away, watching them with an unreadable expression. As they watch, the figure seems to nod slightly before dissipating into the air. Zeus grins. That was just the grumpy old wizard guy I was in, he says.